All right, what's up, guys? John Sintes here, Cutternation podcast, partner Cass Kreitlow. Today's guest, Richard Shepherdson, aka Roo, owner of RooFormance. He's
AKA
our
Roo.
guy here. This is our new home. We couldn't be happy to be here. Roo, appreciate you coming on and do a little podcast with us.
Thanks for having me.
This is fun. Yeah. Can you tell everybody where you're from, who you are, what your history is?
Sure. I was originally from South Africa. Grew up to about 15 over there, then immigrated to Minnesota. Then in 2009, moved down to San Diego. Played competitive sports my whole life. My main sport is rugby, though. Started when I was,
You're a big dude.
yeah. So started when I was 4 back home. Pretty much played all the way till I was 24 when I decided to start my own company in 23. And then, my background in like training is I have a couple certifications. National certifications, a degree in kinesiology.
From where?
San Diego State. My specialty was performance specialty, so I love making the human body as strong and physically possible as it can be, doing the best machine possible.
So, you and I talked about this before. You got hurt.
Yeah.
And then came back from that and that experience. Can you tell us about what happened?
Yeah, so I hyperextended my spinal cord where basically I was on all fours trying to get up. I had about 8 guys my size fall into my back and my spine hit each other. And luckily, just being a big guy and contact playing rugby my whole life, I didn't break any bones or didn't just like break any discs or nerves in my back. But what I did was I tore all my muscles apart and they adhesed all kind of funky and wonky, and basically I should be in a wheelchair. But then I went to a specialist. She did ART, which is active release therapy, and it's like black magic. But I basically played, I think, 6 more years high level rugby after that. Lifted heavy weights for strongman. Never knew I ever hurt my back until I think about it. I did it. So the therapy and coming back and being a top athlete after that was obviously great, because any athlete that's injured hates it. I mean, it's probably our kryptonite. Is any kind of injury is always our kryptonite or Achilles heel.
Awesome. Okay, well, that sucks. I've been hurt, broke my elbow. You've been hurt. Now, I know you have been going to Roo for some ART, right? Do you want to tell everybody about your experience, about how it went, and maybe before that, why don't you explain what ART is?
No, I can. Yeah. Okay, yes, that's a
why don't you explain what ART is?
ART is active release therapy. Basically, it's trigger points. So when your body, there's different versions. There's adhesions or knots. Most people get knots. They feel like, I got a knot in my back. Everybody always says they have a knot from working out. That's just where the muscle stretches, kind of goes on top of each other, and the lactic acid calcifies around there, and they kind of get like on top of each other.
Can you actually explain? This is the perfect place to slow that down and help me understand what you just said.
So basically, when we're like, for example,
So you're talking about a knot right now, not a knot.
Yeah, a knot.
Okay, and you've told me that this is like a grain of sand, that crunchy feeling.
Right.
Those are the knots, not the things that are like.
Yeah. So an
long.
adhesion is, imagine you've overstretched a muscle, and what it does is it adheres to another muscle, creating an impingement there. Most of the problem is adhesion's always connected to a tendon, which is either on bone or like a nerve. So that's why sciatic pain is usually forced by like an adhesion along the bottom of the sciatica into the hips, which runs down like either your legs, or sometimes it can go across your back, right? I've had clients that lose the function in the hand from the sciatic issue, or adhesion down in their lower back. So the body's all connected, and most of the time, for example, let's say she hurt her wrist or her hand was the problem, but if you follow it all the way down, you find that it's actually somewhere else in the body. And adhesion is where you've separated the muscle and they slam back together like glue must, and then basically, so let's say most people have problems in their back because they're all connected in different ways. If one's pulling on the other, it's going to pull on a different area, and it just escalates into like a snowball effect of problems.
And you said there's another version. And what about you? How does it feel for your experience? Why don't we go through the history?
How did you do it? Like your first experience with it, how bad were yours? And,
So I had.
I want to hear you talk about.
I had a lady. Her name was Dr. Holly up in Minnesota. She owned a Spine and Sports Institute.
Where?
Right up in Maple Grove. Right across from. I think it was on the I think it was just before like Maple Grove High School.
We'll have some Minnesota people watch
Oh,
this,
that's
so
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, so she's up in, I'm pretty sure she's still up there. Her and her like
Say her practice one more time.
Sports and Spine Institute of Minnesota. I think it is the Minnesota Sports and Spine
Yeah,
Institute.
what's her name?
Dr. Holly.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's amazing. I mean, she's like maybe 115 pounds, and she was probably the strongest female I've ever met in my life. Like, she'd have her assistant pull my leg to stretch my glute, which pulled on my lower back, and she'd stick her thumb in the adhesion, and it would rip, and I'd literally black out. Or like, it'd be insanely painful. So whenever I do it on people like Cass or anybody says, "Oh, it's sore," I'm like, trust me, I know. I had this 115-pound lady beat me. And
Black out.
Oh yeah, because the pain is just crazy. But I mean, it works. She fixed my back, and I've lifted heavy weights after that. Played high-level rugby all the way up to Super League here in San Diego, and would never have known I'd ever hurt my back if it wasn't for her. Like she said, I would have been in a wheelchair. So yeah, this stuff's crazy.
Well, so mine have been so intense because of just like, I don't want you to just rip into my hamstring right now. So like, we got to get on the same page right now before I accept the fact that you're going to do this. So, but then there's been other parts where like my calf is like, let's do this, let's go.
Just dig into it and release it.
Yeah, but then there's also things like I'm walking in there and I'm not relaxed. And I know that like I've also been coming in, like I've been coming in late, to be honest, and that's something like, oh, maybe I should try a little bit harder to come prepared mentally, and that would probably be something that would be
Everybody's
helpful.
different.
But these are just like the things that I'm learning about it. So what I've talked to, I go to therapy for my life, and so comparing it to psychotherapy, I don't think it's that crazy because of the amount of overlap between the two of them, right? And so the fact that, you know, I have to, like I always say about Vance, like Vance is taking it, and he just takes it, and he's just like, yep, I'm gonna let him do this, and he's like, that takes a certain confidence in who you are and what you're about to just be like, I have the courage right now to no matter what, let this person just rip my muscles apart. And that's literally what.
The thing is, like, it hurts, but then instantly I'll move and it'll be like it's.
And now
the
my
weirdest feeling ever.
I haven't thrown because this quarantine stuff, but like that thing in my shoulder that we got out last time, this was like, let's go. So I was more prepared last time. So even though I didn't, I need to come. Like these things I'm learning too, right? But frick, I was so excited to get that out, and it's like my shoulder goes that much higher, like inches. It's so obvious.
It's weird.
So
seconds on one spot.
So, and that's what it's turned into. It's like, now that I know what's on the other side, it's like, okay, let's get going. So it's not for the faint of heart. Now, I'm curious, do 8-year-olds have adhesions?
Oh yeah, there's some people. I've had one guy come in once, that he was a cop, and he had a problem with his lat. I just stretched out, it was completely fine. And then he's like, well, sometimes my hip hurts. And then we went down there, and he had one probably the size of my fist, because he carries his gun and everything on his belt right along his hip. So we didn't think, holy crap, a cop can have a different kind of adhesion or problem than somebody else can. You know, I have firefighters that have down their rhomboids, massive knots because they carry all that weight. A lot of military people carry it on their shoulders, in the middle of their back.
A lot of high school, college
those
kids wear backpacks.
Yeah,
carried in the middle of their back.
and kids, because they're so young and their muscles are so flexible, they stretch really quick and come back together quick. So they're easy to fix because literally it's just press and stretch and it releases. Whereas if you're a little bit older, that's when it's harder to separate. But I've had people come in and say you have sore backs, or kids. I had one of our members come in with his daughter. She plays soccer, thinking she had a sore hamstring, where that she had adhesion and stretched out, was completely fine. And so it really is different. People think they might have adhesion or not, but they just need to stretch more. It's most people that have like an adhesion is something that like stops them from moving. Like I've had Olympic weightlifters come in, their right arm goes up normal, left one stops here. So once we're done, it's weird difficult eating. So it's just really depends.
I mean, in all honesty, I've been nervous to like introduce younger kids because of how intense it is. But
I have younger kids come in all the time.
So it might just be like they need stretching.
Yeah, most of the time with younger kids, it's super easy to get rid of. an adhesion or not, just because you got to stretch them out.
And they're willing to.
Yeah.
Just gotta
And then
play
have
with them.
fun, yeah.
Like, let them have some
That's why
fun.
most kids, like, if I've ever
They have no idea how to stretch. High schools don't teach them how to stretch. When they're playing younger, I think what you guys call it here, like it's the young baseball here, little league, and little stuff like. They never really teach the kids how to warm up properly. They just jog down there and jog back, and you go. I mean, that's not how you warm up the body for no matter what age you're at.
Yeah.
In fact, young kids should actually warm up a lot harder than anybody older because their muscles are so flexible. They need to be completely moved before you force them in different directions.
So why don't you talk about, just while we're on kids, what's appropriate transitioning more into the strength and conditioning side? So I'll put one last piece in, just because we have so many kids coming to us that have had injuries or are going through a season and their arms get sore. And like, this is what we keep telling people is we are creating a team of people that can handle a lot of these questions and might have a lot more solutions than what you might get going to other places. And I have to be very careful when I say that, because we are not doctors and we are not physical therapists, but there are some things that we know how to do to make people feel healthy. So, moving on to the strength and conditioning with younger players, I've talked a little bit in the past of kind of what's appropriate for an 8-year-old versus what's appropriate for an 18-year-old versus a 28-year-old, but I don't know that I've ever had that conversation with you. So,
Basically, the biggest thing for lifting for anybody, any age, is body control. There's no point being able to do a 100-pound squat on your back if you can't do a bodyweight squat. Plain and simple.
well, should they be squatting in the first place?
Well, yeah, because they need to be able to build those muscles in the correct alignment, right? If you make a kid that's never had a squat before, make him try to squat and grab a ball or jump, his body's not going to know what to do. So you start teaching the kid the good form with body weight, and then you start ramping up from whether it be bands or lightweight or static engagements into explosive, just some way to be able to engage the muscles properly, and then you ramp up the weights and weights and weights through that way. Because then,
Static engagement.
yeah, so you're basically starting at a loaded squat, basically with weight, and then having them stand up, right? So a lot of people, there's different theories on how to get your squat better. Let's say you do a 300-pound squat, but you want to get to 400. A lot of people, like strength world strongman and stuff, believe that if you start at a loaded squat underneath the bar from the bottom and go up, you can actually increase your strength way faster than just doing squats all day or trying to progress the weight up that way. They say teaching the muscle to take the most amount of weight at the hardest part, which is usually from the stop up, then being able to take it up and down. So you teach the kids with math from the bottom of the squat, explode up, back into a landed squat, right? So you teach them conditioning and strength at the same time with power.
So it's almost reverse.
Pretty much, yeah.
Squats, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen that a lot online where you have people that are doing like pretty shoulder height assisted where it's almost at the 90 and they just pick it up.
Yeah.
And just go up from there and then come back down. Right? So it's like a training wheel situation.
Same with like bench. A lot of my friends.
Oh, and you still put it down. So you don't lose the eccentric. You just.
No.
Oh, yeah, okay. That was.
It's more like an assisted depth thing.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's not. It's
But you
simply.
started from the hardest part of
Yes.
the deck.
So you
Teach
go
them how
up,
to get efficient.
Ah,
and you come back down.
What is that called? Static. What?
Static engagement.
Static engagement.
A lot of strongmen do
Interesting.
it, yeah. So I'd say Thorpe Jorgens is probably like, I wouldn't say the inventor of it, but he's the most well.
Thorpe and Jorgens.
Yeah, he's the world's strongest man. He's the one that promotes it the most, I'd say.
So as a performance guy with yourself, like something like that, trying to, is that something you've experimented with yourself?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Play around where it's like,
Yeah.
what's the fastest way to become strongest?
Yeah,
Right?
definitely. Like my benching, I don't remember the last time I benched, like probably. I always do like explosive benches, eccentric slow motion, pump at the bottom, explosive up at the top. And then when I do decide to bench, my number is either equal to what it used to be or it's better. The control is there. So I don't ever go like, all right, today I'm going to go bench 135. Start 135, jump to 225, to 315, 405. I probably just started throwing 100 pounds, so you throw it, let it go, engage it back, explode up. Usually we teach people like the Smith machine, and then once you've got enough control, you go into the free weights. Because if you can throw 225 pounds, you should easily be able to bench it once, right? So
Like
if I could
force
throw,
output, you
right,
see
yeah.
time,
Yeah, so that way I found like with all my clients, especially my young clients, if we do that kind of training, we put them on the floor with dumbbells. The dumbbell number goes through the roof. I have 15-year-old kids that start up only being able to 10 or 15 pounds after we do that type of training, we're in the 30s and 35s in 2 months. You know, so it teaches them control for the stability muscles, your triceps, chest, lats, the shoulders, for the weights. You know, because it's not just your chest that's doing all the work, right? Lats have to catch on the bottom, the shoulders, pushing up the triceps up as well. But you also got to teach everything to work in sync. Right? It's that old saying, if I can bench 300 pounds, technically I should be able to take a 150-pound dumbbell on each arm, push it up. 99% of people, that's impossible.
Yeah.
Be 200 in the dominant arm, 100 in the other, right? Now we got to do, that's why a lot of my clients always do isolated movements to make one side of the hemisphere stronger like the other. Then we do functional training to put them together.
It makes me wonder about like performance in baseball, and like I've always been interested in what's the fastest way to get to what level of strength is, right? So can you explain how being stronger in one, like being stronger is like as being big, like being big and being strong, that's what I'm going at, right? Like there's a size thing that happens when you're getting stronger, right? When you're getting bigger.
Right, well what happens is when you get bigger, you've just torn the muscles and they've gone bigger. But you could be massive, right, and have zero density, which means somebody that's half your size has the same amount of density, could probably lift more than you. Right, so size doesn't always mean strength. You have to create that density in the muscle, which allows oxygen and blood flow better, the muscle's stronger and more firm, so it can handle more pressure through it.
So that makes sense because then you have guys that are like, we have this giant anomaly in pitching, right? Where it's like you have these machine Terminator dudes like Noah Syndergaard, and then you got little dudes like Giordano Ventura, who's like Syndergaard's
Marcus
6'5".
Stroman.
Yeah, Marcus Stroman. Syndergaard's
Tim
6'5", 250 pounds. And then there's all these little dudes.
Yeah.
Right? And there's these
Dylan
little
Betances
people.
is 6'8", 285.
Yeah, throws 100.
And then Tim Collins is 5'5", 180.
So how do you explain that?
Really, that's just the body's ability to create energy and release it more efficiently. So you can be a big, strong guy. For example, like I gave you that example the other day. I might be able to lift both of you if you put even your numbers together. I'll probably beat both your numbers. But I guarantee there's no way I can throw it anywhere near you guys. Right? Even if I had the same skill as you, there's just the way you create that energy through your torso and those hips and release it through all your arms. It's like I can't do that unless I had to train and change the way I was training, because you guys just have that explosive sync in your brain. Right?
But okay, so this I feel like in like a year, if you gave me a year, oh my goodness.
Right, but see, what I'm saying is that just because I'm bigger doesn't mean I'm going to be able to throw faster.
Yeah,
I'd have to learn how to create that energy in my body.
No, I
and
get
release
that.
it. Like
Sure.
I've trained my body to be able to pick up heavy weights, right? Because I know how to control the muscle properly. I can't control the specific muscles that you guys want to release it, right?
Right.
So even though I am stronger, it's just I don't know how to create that energy. My body doesn't know how to create that energy.
Right, so like what does that adaptation look like? Okay, so for somebody who's like your age, right? So, do you know what I'm asking?
No.
Okay, maybe it's just a bad question. Let's
No,
just move on away from
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Because I'm beating a dead horse on that a little bit. So.
but
But I think for
So the
power and performance in baseball, it's almost like any explosive sport where you need to be able to create the most amount of energy through the muscle and release it. Right? For example, shot putters. The best shot putter isn't the biggest person. It's the one that can create the most load into the spring and explode it out in one movement. If, for example, let's say my shoulders are super dominant and I'm a shot putter, that's great. I'll probably be able to pick up a 16-pound ball more than somebody with 12. But if somebody that's more efficient and stronger throughout the whole body as a unit, they'll be able to throw that 16 further than I can. Right? So you have to be balanced throughout the whole body, where probably my arms or my lats might not be as explosive as yours. Right?
Doug Latta always says my bias is balance. That's my bias. That the body needs to stay in balance.
It does.
These things. Yeah, it's a funny bias.
makes sense with body control.
I have a question and I don't want to forget to ask it. So while we're still on the strength and conditioning, like, so baseball players are going to be like, how many times? They're all going to be like, can I lift once a month and like that make me as big as I need to be? Like, most of the baseball players that I know don't love strength and conditioning. They love baseball. And so I think everybody wants to know, like, what is the least I can do? What is the most I should?
right? And so, kind of from your standpoint, do you think, like, what should you be doing? What's the frequency of strength and
I think it depends on the goal of the person or the athlete. Because, for example, let's say the goal is I need to get stronger. Well, then we got to figure out what your starting point is. So let's say if I'm
Simplest one. I'm 12 years old. I want to throw 90 miles an hour by the time I'm 18 years old.
then you have to be a full training program, probably 3 to 4 times a week with correct stretching program, like days off, and then just working on that skill to integrate the functional throwing. Because it's not just being strong, like I said, to be able to throw 90 miles an hour.
How about an 8-year-old?
You got to start from the bottom and control, body control.
So how many times a week does that?
Probably 2 to 3.
2 to 3.
Yeah.
So there it is, right? So an 8-year-old can start doing 2 to 3 times a week, like thinking about these things, right?
And then
On
the other
purpose.
2 or 4 probably be
Some type of functional, so it'd be all kinds of games.
Yes,
Air
go play
goals,
basketball,
obstacle stuff,
whatever.
just making the body as strong as possible.
Yeah, if we were training.
But like typically what happens is like people aren't paying us $7,000 a month to go train their kid to be, the next MMA fighter and the next Nolan Ryan, right? So usually it's like, where can we invest this time and money into the things that are most important to them? And we get a lot of baseball players that love baseball. So then it's going to be the other things. The 8-year-old's going to go play soccer. The 8-year-old's going to go do all those other things.
and that training is going to help them in all their sports. not
Right.
just baseball.
Right.
So
You're a well-rounded athlete.
yeah, just try to be
Creative.
I think it depends on the personal athlete. Because for example, suppose I need to start, then if you have a strong point, let's say
Simplest one. I'm 12 years old. I'm 9 miles an hour. By the time I'm 18 years old.
then you have to be full training program, full training with correct stretching program, days off, and then just work on skills, and functional. Well, it's not just being strong, it's every other.
How about an 8-year-old?
Then you got to start one, control,
How many times a week does that look? 2 to 3. So there it is, right? So an 8-year-old can start doing 2 to 3 times a week, like thinking about these things, right?
That's not functional sport, it's games.
Yes,
It's
basketball.
possible, it's very much possible.
If you're training, like typically what happens is like people are paying $7,000 a month to go train the next MMA fighter and next line, right? So usually it's like, where can we invest this time and money in the things that are most important to them? We got baseball players that love baseball. So then it's going to be either 8-year-olds can go play soccer, 8-year-olds can go do other things.
That's just how most
Right,
sports.
right.
You have to be pretty good best athlete, and best athlete. Well, I think you got to go because we'll do this again. This is a good part of time. Yeah, well, you thanks for having us. Appreciate it. Here. We always work things going on. We're going to keep. That's what you know. So we're going to keep trying to ask questions. If you guys have questions for Roo, feel free to message us, message him on Instagram, and maybe we'll do a take questions. Appreciate it.